Hello everybody. Today we are going to learn some more about inputting into Finale, and I'm going to show you this while I prepare your assignment. So we will be looking at a string arrangement activity. You can see all of your instruments up here: violin 1, violin 2, viola, cello. But to simplify things, I'm writing the piano part out beneath this so that you can pull from it, and also so that's there handy for you. Now I've already started putting some of these details in, and I'm going to continue onward. I have arrived at what you can see right here, a 5/4 bar. So how do we change a time signature is the first question. Well, Finale has a lot of different tools at the top. We looked at last time the simple entry tool and the selection tool a little bit. Simple entry was where we were inputting notes. Again, if you have a keyboard, a piano keyboard that you can plug in, you can use simple entry or speedy entry. Speedy entry is great with a keyboard like that. If you're using a normal computer keyboard, you'll probably want to do simple entry. And then we looked at the selection tool to make some simple changes. For example, clicking into something, going up and down octaves with some of the numbers in the top of your keyboard. So there are tools for everything. This one is the time signature tool, so I'm going to click this time signatures tool. You can click in any measure here, so I'll just click right here. Double click, and number of beats, I will move up to 5. So everything from this point on will be in 5/4. But I can see right here in the score that we're going to go right back to a 4/4 meter, so I'll just jump into that right away. Go back to 4/4 because I know I won't need that anymore after this moment. Okay, so I'm going to just go through and put all my notes. Once I click into something in simple entry mode, I can just type them all in. If I move forward, I'll see the cursor right here. And again, if you have a number pad, a separate number pad, you'll be able to change what the cursor says on it. If you do not, then you can use Alt to change rhythms as you desire. So remember 5 is quarter notes, so I can just go and type them, make sure the cursor is close enough to the note in the right octave that you want. Otherwise, you'll just have to move octaves. And you can actually push forward to create a rest. Don't go backwards into the back measure because you'll notice that it will leave the measure blank. So if you want to create rests for the rest of a measure, move forward, progress forward in your measure. So to make it rest at the starting of a measure or somewhere else, I push R, and now I have these chords. So I'm pushing minus for my flats, and then I see that there is an interval of a fourth going up twice. I'm going to push 4 twice on the top of my keyboard. That's why the number pad is helpful, because the number pad can change rhythms with the numbers. And then the top part of your keyboard is what stacks intervals on top of each other. So I just pushed 4 twice there. I have a D flat here. I push the D, click the minus button at the top of my keyboard where there's a minus and a plus. And then I see an interval of a second, and then above that, an interval of a fourth. And then I go to the next one, which looks like the exact same thing. Click into the next, or walk into the next measure with the right cursor, right arrow, and that's how I made that rest. Now you'll notice that there are some articulations. So I'm going to go up to another tool right here that has the accent on it. That's the articulation tool. Now, if you're using a mouse and a keyboard, all you have to do is hold down the letter A for accent, and it's going to create an accent. But maybe you don't have a mouse and a keyboard. Another shortcut you can do is you can highlight over a group of them. You can memorize the numbers. I know the numbers already, but you can also click select to go in here. You can see this is number 3. So articulation 3 is accents, and everything that was highlighted will get an accent. So I can do the same thing up here. I can highlight all these and change them to the marcatos that I want. So you can see right here those marcatos. Now I have marcatos here, and then I have the accents that I wanted there. So we're good to go with those articulations. Now let's keep going a little bit further, and then maybe we'll come backwards and get some dynamics in there. So on this next page, we're back to 4/4 time. And let me jump into this measure right here. Looks like we need a dot on this note. So you simply go to the period button on your keyboard near the bottom, right? So I'm going to just hold shift because I'm at the top of the note. If I want to go putting intervals downward, I'm going to hold shift and then type the interval numbers that I need. So I need to go down to 4, so I'm holding shift and clicking 4. I'm going to hold shift again and click 3. I'm going to push the plus for the sharp. And there's our dotted half note that we wanted in the starting of this bar. And then I'm going to go over here and create this. Now, if you notice, this is something that's been happening a lot. So maybe I just want to take something that has a similar rhythm, like this measure right here, and just drag it over on top of here. And now I'm just going to adjust it. So if I push while I'm in selection mode, if you notice, that's how I drag that over. If I go down with the 6 button, down by steps, I can go all the way down to where this is. And you'll see that the notes are not right, but oh, I want to go up a step. Then they aren't quite right, but it's a good enough start. So I double clicked into that note to go to the normal simple entry note. I noticed that there is an A natural. I don't need it, but it'd be nice to have. So what I'm going to do is think P for parenthetical, parentheses. Now you're like, well, I don't want that parentheses. Well, all you have to do is click P a second time and it gets rid of the parentheses. But that creates a parenthetical or courtesy accidental. Now right here, I'm going to push the sharp for the sharps I need. Now I do need that natural. I'm going to push N for natural, N for natural. But you'll notice that since I copy and pasted it, all my articulations are in place. You'll notice there's slurs. We'll get to that just in a moment. Okay, the next measure, R for rest. I'm going to go down here just so I don't have to hold shift, but I'm going to go write this whole melody in right here, a dot here on that note. I'm going to push 4 to change the rhythm on my number pad. I need a sharp here. Okay, actually I'm going to get rid of the sharp. I'll show you something right now. But I'm going to push 8 for octave on all of these. You'll notice that I have 2 notes here that need sharps. I could use the control button and go between the top and the bottom notes. If I hold control, I can move between multiple notes in a chord. But I can also do control A, and that will select all the notes in the chord. And I can put all those sharps down at the same time for everything in the chord. And you'll notice everything is being selected until I hit a rest. So if I want to do control A, I can select the entire chord. And that's good also if you want to move all the notes up and down as you would desire. Okay, and now I have a bottom hand, 8th notes here. And again, the number pad is really helpful to have. So if you have a keyboard with a number pad, that's great. If you don't, well, you'll probably have to just click over to the side a little bit more to make things work out for you. There are ways to change those settings if you wanted to, and maybe we could explore that if you need that. You can come in for office hours or something. But this is another tool that we use. So we were using articulation tool for articulations, but slurs become part of this smart shape tool world. You'll notice we have slurs, decrescendos, crescendos, trills, octave signs, and so forth. Basically anything that needs to stretch. If you hold, so I double clicked right here and I held down and I stretched it over the entire bar. I stretched that over the entire bar. You'll notice that the engraving is different here. This one has the slur going over the top, this one going over the top. It's actually not necessary based on the way that the stems are going, but I can see the value of perhaps putting this in the top because it's kind of getting cluttered in here in the middle. So if you right click on this, you can actually go to direction. You can just flip it. Now it's on the top. So if I want to make it look just like our publisher did over here, which not perfect publishing honestly in this, but just to show you the example, I was able to right click, do direction, and flip it. And that is a very helpful thing to know. Okay, I realized I forgot a tenuto marking over here. E for elongate is for a tenuto. I could have also, if you're using the mouse and the keyboard. You can do E for tenuto, S for staccato, A for accent, V for marcato because it looks kind of like a V. Just some other shortcuts you can do. Of course, like I said, you can either click into the note and choose one of them, or you can highlight over a group of them, and that will do the articulations as well. All right, so now we get to this measure 13, and it looks like we're using multi-layers. You'll notice that this publisher is very sloppy with it, just being honest. But you'll notice that our top layer is this one that has eighth notes and quarter notes. So what I'm going to do is, oops, let me push Alt-5 to do that, turn it into a quarter and turn it into a rest. Now I'm going to go into this next one right here, and I made eighth notes, and I'm going to go BB. Move this down a little bit. I change it to a quarter note, C, B flat. That's great. Now that is going to be my top layer. If I go down here, I can go to the second layer. And I'm going to change that to half notes right here. And again, if I want those courtesy accidentals, I'm going to do Control A to get the entire chord. P makes them that way, but then if I push P again, I don't have to worry anymore. You'll notice that the publisher here decided to do 2 quarter rests. Not terribly necessary, honestly. So we don't really need to do that. It divides the measure in half fine, so I'm going to stick with that. If you wanted to change the rest, you could of course highlight it, do Alt-5, and then do another one that way, but Alt-6, I'm bringing it back to that half rest. I don't want anything different from that. Okay, I'm just going to type in this really quick. Make sure you have the dot on there or else you'll be missing a beat, which will end up with a rest for you. I'm going to kind of zoom ahead a little bit, input some of these notes, and it's going to be good. All right, that's the rest of the line in the top. And now we have this one. No. Control A. More parenthetical accidentals, probably canceling out what you have in the other hand. And then E flat. All right, that's the bottom hand. But now you're like, wait a second, I have all this bottom left hand material as red. This is red like it should be, and I'm going to put that other layer on top. But wait a second, what do I do now if it's all red? It's in the wrong layer. I'm going to go up to Edit at the top, and I'm going to move Copy Layers. And I'm going to go right here and do Layer 2 into Layer 1. And there we go. They're all back. So that's helpful. But if you notice, I'm switching layers down here, 1 and 2. And let me keep on moving. And, you know, it would have been nice if I would have dragged this in. I think that would have been a better idea. All right. Flat, flat, flat. Now you'll notice this is actually touching, so I'm going to actually, if you push upward, it might bring it down into the staff for a moment, but then I can actually raise it up higher so that there's no collision there, just by using the up and down arrows on my keyboard. So that's something I think is essential to do. You don't want to have any collisions like that. Okay, so there we go. I feel pretty good about all of this that I'm seeing now. It looks like all I need is an accent on that first note. I'm holding A down and clicking with my mouse. Now you'll notice that I have pedal markings, and while your string part doesn't need pedal markings because you don't have a pedal, it might be helpful for you to know a bit more about that. So what we have right here is the custom line tool. If I hold Control and click on that custom line tool, it's going to give me a lot of options, and these are super helpful. So you'll notice that I have all sorts of different pedal markings I can use right here. And you'll notice that I have one that's like this, and you'll notice that there are a variety of pedal markings after that. and they're meant to connect onto each other and make a straight row. So my first one has a hard end right there, so you'll notice that it says note, and it does connect to notes, individual notes. You'll notice this is actually connecting to beat 3 is where this one changes. Now I don't want to have that hard line again, so I hold Control as I click over here to the custom line tool. I choose this one right there. And now I can make that one, and it looks like all of them are going to be this way. Now you do have to click out of them each time, which is kind of annoying, but the thankful thing is that they do snap to the beats, which is super convenient for us. And I'm leaving them a little bit sloppy. I'll fix them later. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to go in a little bit here. Oh wait, I know what I'm doing wrong. My bad. Just drag that over here. And then let's go over to here and here and here. Okay, this is kind of messy. Now, sometimes you want to do some more detail work right here. For example, this is ugly as all get out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Alt and or Control and 2 to go in closer and fix it. And if I click on all of these, I can do edits. So this is going to be the tutorial for today. There's more to talk about, but that's good for now. Thank you.